found flicks. On this ending explained, we're looking at the
However, I do love this dude. This is my favorite like movie explained dude. If you're not going to if you're not going to actually watch the movie, but you want to know about the movie, this is like my favorite dude to watch. It's like it's sick. Conflicts is amazing.
28 years later, where 28 years after the rage virus outbreak, a group of survivors live on a small island.
Huge
when one
dongs.
of the group leaves on a mission to the mainland, he discovers secrets, wonders, and horrors that have mutated not only the infected, but other survivors. It took a staggeringly long time to get
You got your answer right there. The huge dongs. They were mutated.
a proper follow-up to 28 Days Later. Unfortunately, both director Danny Boyle and writer Alex Garland have returned to shepherd the new trilogy. Although with 28 years, things are off to a bit of a rocky start. Obviously, it's always going to be difficult following up something considered a modern classic. Fortunately, the filmmakers went for something different rather than what we might be expecting. It is a bit of a mixed bag though, as some of these ideas work and some just flat out don't. Sure, it's nice to meet some new characters, but the fact that the most memorable one is the infected alpha with a massive dong, that is not a good sign. Hopefully, whatever they have cooking for the story as a whole will be worth it, and it is hard to judge a trilogy based on just one movie. For now, I will give them the benefit of the doubt.
You did mention the massive dong.
So let's check out 28 Years Later, breaking down the story, how the world and the infected have evolved, as well as explaining the ending and what comes next in the series. Our opening takes place during the original outbreak back in 2002.
Oh, the Scottish Highlands.
A gaggle of blonde children are all watching Teletubbies, which is all distorted and plagued by VHS scan lines. There's some voices and banging heard outside.
I thought they were referring to the Teletubbies as the children with blonde hair. I was like, oh fuck, they really have mutated. Wow, this rage disease really fucked him up. That's the lore of Teletubbies. Is like way back in the day there was a zombie outbreak, and then now this like over time have transformed into Tinky Winky, and I don't know all the Teletubbies names, but they're turned into Teletubbies.
The door kicks open to chaos and screams. A boy, Jimmy's auntie, bursts in, only telling them to keep quiet. The thumping gets more intense, causing the kids to get upset. It suddenly stops, and Jimmy goes to the door to listen. It's kicked open, and several infected storm in, ravaging the children as Jimmy watches on in horror. He runs into the house, and the whole family has been infected, seeing his auntie vomiting up blood. He flees into the streets and right to the church nearby where his dad is a priest. He's still there, peacefully praying. Jimmy pries the doors open, noticing the cross is upside down. He runs to his father, trying to understand what's happening. He believes that this is Judgment Day, and the family hasn't been killed, they've been saved. It's a glorious day, he beams.
That's
He hands
crazy.
over his crucifix to the boy, telling him to keep it with him always. The infected then break through everywhere. Dad is stoked, shouting, "Yes, my children," as he's overtaken, and before long starts turning himself. Jimmy runs out, holding his dad's cross, still hanging upside down, quite telling. We then learn what happened in the preceding years. The virus laid waste to the UK, but was eventually driven back from continental Europe. The mainland was quarantined to contain the virus, and any survivors were left to fend for themselves. Basically, they left the UK to deal with the virus, and the rest of the world pretty much just moved on. With that in mind, we pick up 28 years later on the remote Holy Island. The occupants there have been able to reconstruct a simple village life. They get to work catching fish, doing repairs on bikes, which is their primary form of transportation, or chopping wood and what have you. As for weapons, bow and arrows are their main tools, seeing people constructing new arrows. It's business as usual for most of the town folk, except for one young lad, Spike. It's a big day, his dad tells him as he wakes him up. Spike gets loaded up with supplies.
Are there still zombies on this island?
To leave his knockoff Power Ranger guy behind. I'm a man now, no toys for me. Jamie is preparing some breakfast and grills him immediately with a checklist of supplies. Spike is shocked to see bacon on the table, and Jamie brushes off that some lady brought it around. Spike tries to share with his dad, but he insists that his boy have it all. Regardless, he saves a piece. Breakfast is interrupted by his mama going nuts upstairs, flinging stuff around the room. Jamie excuses himself to go see her. At the bottom of the staircase, he takes a moment to gather his strength before shouting, "I'm coming, love." Spike joins them, and Mom is happy to see him. We glean that Isla is quite ill as she asks him about going to school. Jamie patiently explains that they've already talked about this. He's not going to school today. He's going to the mainland. She flips out and accuses him of trying to kill their baby. "Cunt!" she yells repeatedly, completely unhinged. Spike brings her back to reality, and she tenderly caresses his face. She's confused. Why is she feeling so hot? He distracts her and tucks her back into bed. She asks if he's off. Yep, to school he fibs, just wanting her not to worry, but also understanding she's not quite all there. Sam, which presumably is Isla's father, has restrung Spike's bow for him. He tells him to have a draw, and Sam is impressed. There's no shake in his grip at all. The time is nigh for his mission. The community is gathered.
It reminds me of that mom from 28 Weeks Later.
Young, but Jamie is confident.
Or is that 28 Days?
Ready. She reminds him of the rules. You can leave, but if you don't come back, no one is allowed to come and find them. There are no rescues and no exceptions. They've learned this lesson the hard way in the past. So once you walk on the mainland, you are on your own. Spike says he understands. They check at the lookout, and the coast appears clear. The gate opens, and they make their way across the causeway. This is for some reason intercut with
verbiage.
old war footage and a recording of
It
boots,
appears
boots,
clear.
Boots moving up and down. There's guys with medieval-looking outfits, and then more modern snipers taking shots. I guess try to draw parallels between all that stuff? Sure, Boyle. Jamie stresses some specifics about the causeway. You can only cross it during low tide, otherwise you get swept away. He asks him one more time, you sure you want to do this? Spike says he can't turn back now or else he'll look soft. The pair make their way to the mainland and Spike is bowled over. It's so big, he marvels. If you keep walking, can you get to a place that you don't see the sea? Well, sure, but there's nothing out there, Jamie claims. Spike knows that there are at least other villages, and his dad tells him to stay out of those.
That male actor looks so familiar, not the boy.
These slow-lows, as Jamie refers to them, shows us how the rage virus has evolved over the past 30 years and developed into different classes of the infected. These aren't fast, but are still dangerous. If you see one, there are probably others looming nearby. Dad guides Spike through getting a shot ready, making sure to aim for the neck. Jamie is preoccupied and somehow doesn't notice another one coming up right behind him. Spike takes the shot and gets him right in the neck. A lady one rises and Jamie is ready. Another appears and he gets them too. There's one final smaller one, just whimpering and appearing harmless. It really looks like this is a slow-low family, as strange as that sounds, because this really does resemble a child. Spike asks to show some mercy, and they allow the child to wander off. Dad's proud. He got his first kill, but they gotta keep moving.
I don't think I'd let the child live.
Around the area. They travel deeper and deeper inland, all still densely forested. There's a rumbling herd, and a stampede of animals go by, something Spike has never seen before. They then happen upon a stone house, and despite people most likely having already ransacked it, there's still a chance to find some supplies. They rummage through the rooms and find nothing of real value. Frisbee, I guess. There's cawing herd in another room, and they find a guy hanging upside down, the crow feasting on his flesh. Spike follows and gasps at the sight, seeing Jimmy carved into their skin. I wonder if it's the same kid from the opening. Yeah. This provides another lesson opportunity for the boy. What happened here, he wonders. Jamie considers that he was left here for the infected and then became one himself. As for why, perhaps punishment. Is that the lesson? Nope, Spike needs to put him down too. But don't worry, the more killing you do, the easier it gets. He also assures him that the infected are no longer themselves. They have no mind and no soul. We'll see about that. Spike struggles to get a shot together as his dad shouts on. The rope snaps and the infected quickly gets to his feet.
The no soul part is kind of weird because in, I forget if it's 28 days later or 28 weeks, but like the mom clearly has a soul and recognizes her kids and her husband for a brief second as she's kissing him. Like his choice to kiss an infected was like so weird. Beyond weird.
His fears and takes a shot. Back on the island, things continue normally, seeing that they have an entire school set up featuring pictures for various positions in the village. They also are busy training the next generation of kids who will soon face their own challenges of adulthood. The pair move on and come to more clues along the trail, blood dribbling from some trees. Then there's an eviscerated corpse of an animal, and Jamie already knows these are signs of the fast infected. We also see more of how they evolved over the years. They have branched out to eat animals as necessary. This also explains how they could continue living all these years. They evolved to survive. There's a disturbing sight of a deer spine perched up in a tree. We flash to the man responsible, a superpowered infected, the Alpha, another breed nicknamed Samson. He seems to be in charge of this particular horde, seeing them feasting as he puts up the display. Jamie too knows that an Alpha was responsible.
I need to watch this movie. I haven't seen it.
They enter a clearing, and it looks like the coast is clear. And
he has a massive dong.
A gang of the infected quickly gathers by a tree. The Alpha appears and orders them with a roar to attack. These classic fasty infected make haste towards them. They have to stop to catch their breath as more infected arrived. Spike gets one, but biffs the other, making his dad do it instead. Jamie spits to move, and they enact a two-man drill where they work in tandem to cover each other. Spike gets one in the leg, Rimmer in the head and the heart. They get some distance between them and make it to a stone house. The horde isn't too far behind, and they quickly hobble into the attic
terrifying.
space. They have no choice but to wait it out for now. Jamie warns about how the Alphas aren't like the others. others. They're stronger and smarter. Fighting isn't an option for them as they're out of arrows, but even still, he's seen one take a dozen, and that wasn't enough to kill the alpha. Spike's apologetic about him missing earlier, but his dad encourages that he didn't lose his nerve and kept firing. That's what really matters. Night falls, and Jamie points out a boat on the water, most likely French to monitor the quarantine. Then Spike notices a fire in the distance, but his dad says he isn't sure what that is. There's more weird red-tinged footage of the infected.
Honestly, I should try to keep this guy up.
Spike, I'm drowning, she cries. He comes to, still in the stone house. They are forced to leave when a herd of animals arrives. It rattles things enough to take down the entire structure. Plus, all that noise will surely draw some attention.
He stays awake all night.
It's time to go now. He didn't
Patrick.
get his kills anyway. As for the tide, well, it's got to be low enough. And if they see that alpha, you just keep running. Don't stop for nothing. They make it to the causeway where they apparently have the entire northern lights encased in a green screen around them for some reason. I think this scene could have looked cool if it was real, but it just ain't working for me. Looks goofy as hell. Samson does make an appearance seen amongst a group of crows. It almost looks like he has control over them too, sending the swarm after the boys. He arrives after, furiously chasing them down, and it kind of looks like he's walking on the water. Okay, big floppy cock Jesus over here apparently. They keep running and the alpha gains ground with lots of weird glitchy edits. Yes, this was done on purpose. At the gate, everyone is passed out, and they quickly rouse them to help. Showing the alpha is indeed a beast, he takes several arrows and it only pisses him off. He's just about to get the duo when the defense gets him with a massive flaming arrow. Jamie demands they open up, but Jamie
you see that giant dong diggle around, I'm sure.
She lets them
diggle,
well,
wiggle around.
And Spike is treated as a hero with a big shindig and everything. His dad regales the crowd with exaggerated tales of his exploits and the many infected that he slew. Spike attempts to set the record straight, and Jamie isn't interested.
Like, my goodness.
Spike, the giant killer. Spike tries out his first taste of beer, and his dad is distracted elsewhere. He's making goo-goo eyes with the school teacher, and they sneak away from the party. Spike isn't too far behind and blows chunks. He spots his dad getting up to no good and decides to follow after. What's going on is quite clear as Jamie invites himself up her skirt and gets down to business. While
I'd be
having an
pissed.
affair while his wife dies of a mysterious illness, Spike returns home, and Sam is excited to hear all about his trip. The boy moans that his
Hope the
dad
dad
is about
dies.
his accomplishments, and Sam knows that he's just proud of him. Spike tells him what really happened, and is still intrigued by that fire that he saw. Sam seems to be aware of it. Did he see old Dr. Kelson? The lad pinpoints where he saw the fire, and Sam knows that it was definitely Kelson. He actually used to be his doctor before the virus. He had a practice not too far away.
No,
Spike is
what are you
becoming more
doing?
disillusioned by his father's lies. He said he didn't know what the fire was and that there were no more doctors. Sam gives him the benefit of the doubt, and besides, Kelson's a bit odd, but he won't answer any more of his questions. If his dad doesn't want him to know, there must be a reason. He tells him to just go back to the party. Spike says he should instead. He's gonna stay here and look after his mom. He snuggles up with Isla in bed, seeing a bloody tissue nearby. Whatever she's got is pretty nasty. In the morning, Isla wakes up complaining of head pain. She needs medicine, but then changes her tune. Jamie stumbles in. What a party, he sighs, plopping in bed. He is curious what happened to the guest of honor, and Spike replies glumly that he just came home. They cook some more breakfast, and Spike presses him about the fire. Why did he lie about the doctor? He realizes he must have been talking to Sam, and calls him a bloody fool for putting those ideas in his head. Yeah, he might have been a doctor years ago, but he's playing Looney Tunes now. Jamie had his own encounter with that fire before. Back then, you could smell the dead everywhere, but as time pressed on, they had to spread where they looked for resources. When they came to that fire, the stench of death was unlike anything they had ever experienced. They crossed a ridge, revealing stacks and stacks of corpses, men, women, and children. In the middle was Kelson and a huge fire, all meaning he had actually dragged all those bodies there. But why? The group was even more alarmed when Kelson caught their gaze and gave them a friendly wave, inviting them to come on down. Yeah, join the party, guys.
Why?
They turned and ran, and that was 15 years ago. Spike is baffled. Does he want Mom to die? He's insulted by the question, and Spike demands to know what's really wrong with her then. He seems to honestly not know, and Spike then asks the big question. If Mom dies, is he gonna be with Rosie? This draws his papa's ire, growling to watch his mouth, and gives him a smack. Spike slinks back upstairs to his mom, and Jamie follows. The lad tries to draw a line in the sand, pulling a pocket knife on his father, telling him to stay back. Jamie quickly disarms him, and looks about to get violent again. He instead stops himself and hands over the blade, knowing he is in the wrong here. And some drywall gets the brunt of his frustration, punching it on the way out. Spike clearly intends to take his mom to Kelson, but has to make a distraction to get past the gate. He sets a fire and manages to get the entire group to leave their posts. Kinda makes you wonder how they survived for 30 years without their defense failing, takes one kid in a fire to leave them completely exposed. In the
I mean, no
chaos, he
one's
grabs
tried
his
yet.
mom. We're leaving, he tells her. She doesn't know what's going on, and he drags her along on a new journey to the mainland. It's only when they reach another village does she snap out of her daze, realizing that they're on the mainland. They've got to get back home. Spike calms her nerves and explains his plan. They're here to see a real doctor from the olden days. He's gonna find out what's wrong with her and fix her up good. Isla is on board, giving him a big hug. As they make their
This
trek,
movie's
there's
so
more references to
strange.
that Jimmy, some graffiti reading that Jimmy is coming with the clouds. Mom reaches her limit. She can't do any more walking today. As rain starts to fall, there's a nearby building to get some shelter for the night. The rain patters down as Spike dozes. Isla playfully grabs his ear and seems more coherent than usual. She wants to know about Jamie. Is he ever jokey with him? Spike can't even believe the idea. Of course not. Well, that's just because he wants to make sure that he's strong, like him. She proves that she is silly, making a mug, and Spike follows suit. The big
I have
man
to
now,
pee
Spike,
so
instructs
bad.
his mama to get some sleep. He's gonna be on lookout. He finds a spot and
I feel like
crows cawing. Uh-oh, is Samson nearby? The lad passes out after a while, and it's not the alpha, but another slow guy that appears. It gets closer and closer to Spike, and tries a bite of his shoelaces. It's no worm, and they spit it right out. Angry, it goes right for his face, and someone else gets it first, covering it with a jacket. Spike wakes up in the morning to the monster dead. But what happened? Isla says she doesn't know, and we flash back. It's Isla that covers it in the jacket and beats the absolute hell out of it. Although it's possible she doesn't actually remember doing this. Elsewhere at the shore, Samson looks out into the beyond. A Swedish boat seems to have crashed, and a group of soldiers are stuck here now. They all fall into a chasm, and a gang of the infected are soon upon them. One stops to lay down some fire as more infected fall from above, and just like that, they are infected, their eyes turning red. There's just 3 left already that make it to a gate. More infected appear, and they blow them to pieces. There are some ugly fuckers, one grumbles. They enter into a
Ugly
new
fuckers.
location, delving deeper
Also, I have
into the
dabs.
darkness. They get jumped by another horde, including Samson, who straight up tears the dude's head off. Ultimately, only
Oh
one
my
makes it through the
God.
attack. They're certainly a lot more effective with the alpha leading him, that's for sure. We've already seen that the infected have changed and evolved over the years, and in some ways are becoming more human-like. Another scene opens this up in a whole new way. A group of them is all gathered in a creek and seems to kind of be bathing themselves, but what really stands out is one lady is obviously pregnant. Now understanding the infected can not only mate, but also reproduce. Elsewhere, Isla and Spike take a load
A
off in
pregnant
gorgeous
infected?
field. Isla's brain is drifting again, remembering being at this spot with her dad years ago and confusing her boy with him. Another scrawny infected
we go
appears,
down
and
while
he
I
tells
was
her to
gone?
get down. He trains his shot and gets it, resulting in blood splattering on her. He carefully wipes it off, seeing more on the horizon. They flee and happen upon a gas station, which appears full
Okay.
of fumes. There's nowhere else to go, and they bust inside. Also seeing it's labeled hell rather than shell. Quite clever there, Boyle. The fumes are overwhelming, causing Isla to choke.
I was to say,
Some
it's too
infected
good
make
to
it
be
inside,
true.
And they keep them at bay. That final soldier shows up from above and shoots, igniting the fumes and causing a massive explosion. Luckily, it stops inches above Isla and Spike for some reason. Convenient flame placement. Not so lucky for the infected, who are all engulfed and flail until they burn to a crisp. The pair make it outside and officially
The food
meet
that I ate
Eric.
was
Isla is
greasy.
still hacking her lungs out, and Eric can tell that something is wrong with her. Spike explains he's taking her to a doctor. The out-of-his-depth soldier doesn't know. What happens next? Well, more of those infected guys show up because of the noise. Eric seems bothered he even rescued these two in the first place and wants to get out of here post-haste. Spike will not leave his mother behind. Thank you, Daddy, she cries. Eric debates what to do, but relents to tag along, even carrying Isla. As he is from Sweden, Eric provides a glimpse into what the outside world is like, and it really sounds like they just moved on normally while Great Britain is still stuck in this limbo since 2002. He goes on about a friend of his that works as a delivery driver. Spike doesn't know what that means and doesn't understand what online is either. Eric's friend was accusing him of wasting his life, and that's why he joined the Navy, to prove a point. But now he really regrets it. He should have just been a delivery driver. Right now he'd be stuck in traffic instead of dealing with all this. He explains how he got here. He was manning a patrol boat and they hit something. A few made it to the life raft and wind blew them here. Now he's the only one left. No hope of rescue though, as the island is in quarantine, so once you're here, there is no leaving. Spike invites him to come to his village after they get his mom to the doctor. Where is that, he asks, and he points to a plume of smoke not too far off. Later they take a break to feast upon
I feel like
some
I've seen
apples,
this kid
and Eric even
before
has a
in
smartphone
like
with
a
him.
movie.
However, his battery is about to die, rendering it useless. He shows off his fiance.
That looks
was
like
had some work
Tanamogo.
done, and Spike is baffled. What's wrong with her face? He defends that she's gorgeous, and Spike says, oh yeah, there is a girl like that in his village. When she eats shellfish, her face balloons up. Eric snatches the phone back and tosses it in the grass. Isla comes to and tells Dad that she's cold. She doesn't recognize Eric, and he jokes that I'm Eric and this is your father, Spike. Isla can't remember where they're going either. The doctor, Spike reminds her. Determined, she gets to her feet. Okay then, let's go. Eric is shocked. She could walk the whole time? Dang, tricked me on that. Eric wonders about the big one, the alphas. How does that happen? According to Sam, the rage virus can affect people differently. In this case, it actually works like steroids. Eric doesn't like the
hell
name
no.
Alpha. Berserker sounds so much better, like a big Viking warrior. He proclaims that if he gets
Berserker
infected,
is better.
no doubt that's what he'll become.
Yeah,
They hear
okay.
an odd noise coming to an overgrown train car. Isla barrels right into it, climbing through the seats. That same pregnant, infected lady is holed up there and on the verge of giving birth. Eric and Spike watch on in shock. Isla holds out her hands and the lady clasps them in hers. And it's time for that baby to drop. Isla lends a hand to help it exit the womb, and Spike helps to cut the cord.
Aw,
Eric is
dead
chopping
ass.
into it to fire at what he assumes must be an abomination. The new mama screeches and he reactively blows her to bits. He wants to do the same with the baby, but we can see that it doesn't actually appear infected. He threatens to put it down or he'll kill them both. Spike takes his mom and they slowly back away. Samson makes a surprise appearance, grabbing Eric through a hole in the roof. There's groans and snapping heard, and the alpha stomps down, clutching his head. So much for him turning into an alpha, I guess.
Oh.
Spike lands an arrow which briefly slows the beast down. There's a moment where he sees the lady is dead, and Samson appears upset. I wonder if he's the dad. I mean, you know, it's pretty. you could see the appeal. He's got a big wiener. Either way, it shows us that he actually does care about this lady. He's not just a mindless zombie. Samson pursues them through the cars, busting down the doors. Spike
I
riddles
wonder
him with
what-
arrows, but it does not do much. They exit the back of the car.
I wonder what the dating life for two zombies is like. They just grunted. Oh my. I need to
And
see like an
Samson
actual
ran
like
upon
love
them.
movie.
They're about to be
Not just warm
destroyed
bodies.
until a
Warm
blow
bodies
dart
exist, but I
lands
need
in
to see
Samson,
something
stunning
more
him
than
in his
that.
tracks. It's the elusive Dr. Kelson covered in Cheeto dust, or iodine as he details later. It works to keep the infected away. Kelson collects Eric's head and knows all about the alpha. He's been around here for a few years now and generally keeps his distance. Spike confirms his identity and tells him the reason they're here. Please help my ma. Oh, and we got a baby too. Kelson guides him down the river and they come across several massive pillars of bones. What is this? Spike marvels. Why, it's the Bone Temple Boy. He doesn't say that, but yeah. He teaches him a relevant Latin phrase, memento mori, remember you must die. For years, he's collected infected and not infected into these structures because in the end, they are all alike. We are all bones. This is a monument to each and every one of them, a temple. Spike touches it and knocks a few off, but it's no big deal. He's curious about Eric. Did they know him? Spike tells him he saved their lives, and with that, Kelson wants to add him to the collection.
So,
There's a
did
raging
he
fire,
face to
and he plops
face
his
the
head right into
fucking
makeshift smoker.
big
Steam
one?
whistles, and the doc moves it off the fire. He removes a fresh skull stripped mostly bare. He washes the rest of the gunk off, and it feeds down the river, starting the circle of life anew. Poor Eric, he smiles, and hands the skull to Spike, tasking him to find him a spot. Spike fills him in on the newborn. It was birthed by an infected, but she is not infected. How interesting. The magic of the placenta, Kelson somehow replies with a straight face.
What?
Is he here for the baby? Nope, it's for his mom. Kelson does a series of basic tests on her, and from what he can determine, she has cancer. He's convinced of this due to masses on her breast and lymph nodes that he found, as well as her particular kind of brain fog. Spike is blindsided.
Okay.
Can he make Isla better? Doc lets him down. It's simply not possible. As he confirms, yep, the cancer is gonna kill her. He can't say when exactly, but it will be sooner
How the fuck
rather
did
than later.
he just?
Spike
Hey,
is
your
unable
mom
to
has
accept this
cancer.
reality. They traveled
Okay.
so far to get
Can you
here.
treat
Isn't
it?
there
No,
anything
she's
you
gonna
can
die.
do?
You
Afraid not,
just
son.
found this.
That's life
You just
for
found
you.
everything
Isla takes
out.
him in a hug, and his emotions pour free. She regrets. She should have told him, and that's all she can say. Doc slinks amongst the bones, and she gives a little nod of approval. Maybe the doc can't help her, but he can help. Does he understand? Spike says that he does. Kelson nails him with a blow dart, and soon the effects take over. Doc reminds him, memento mori, we all must die. Although there are many kinds of death, some
Wait,
are
are they
better
just
than
straight up
others,
just gonna
and
kill the
peaceful
mom?
is the best way to go, where we leave each other in love. Spike and his mom do love each other very much. He's got some more Latin for him, memento amoris. Remember, you must love. Doc tells Isla to come along, and she gives her boy a final kiss. She says to stay with the baby, but he's unable to move anyway, just staring blankly, she walks into the trees, accepting her fate. She can feel the end is near. Kelson's got another dart ready for her. The fire
That's sad.
roars and Ash starts swirling in a circle like some Lion King shit. They flash back through various interactions with her in an attempt to tug at your heartstrings. It's not that much later when Kelson returns with a fresh skull. Wow, that was quick. We just totally dismantled her body and shoved her in the furnace, and it's like, here you go, fresh skull for you, boy. Now it's her
Raw
turn to
bones.
have a spot, the best one of all. Spike climbs a makeshift ladder all the way to the top of the bone tower. He places her skull as a new day dawns, filling the sky with an orange glow. He starts getting upset and gives her a kiss. He turns her skull to face the sunrise. And
I feel like she didn't need to die yet.
I mean, that's her skull, you know, not really her. Later, Samson returns, sending the pair to seek shelter in a cage container. He tears right through the temple, knocking shit over. He yanks furiously, growling at the gate. This all to me feels like what he's actually after is the baby. His baby. Promise. He vanishes from view and appears on the other side and punches right through the ceiling, grabbing the dock. He violently shakes him around and Spike gets a dart, jamming it into his arm. With that near disaster, Kelson thinks that perhaps it is time for him and the baby to go home. Spike makes the long trek back to Holy Island, passing by several now familiar sights on the way. Then it's 28 days later, and Spike didn't actually return home. He just left the baby along with the letter to explain things. He tells his dad not to come looking for me. He'll come back when he's ready. He wants to keep walking until he can't see the sea. He tells his dad he did find Kelson and he was in fact a kind man. Ginny finds the baby dangling on the gate and the note clarifies she's okay. Please be kind, the note concludes. Her name is Isla. Hearing this, Jamie loses it and goes right for the gate, tearing it open. He intends to go right for his son but can't get too far thanks to the tide. No!
Thank you for following.
Spoil! He screams. He's a man now. Spike is busy poking a fish on a fire and hears weird hooting and hollering from up on some rocks. Down the road a piece, there's an infected standing there. They sprint right for him and Spike times a shot and nails it in the chest. There's more where that came from as they round the bend and Spike makes a run for it. One goes right for the fish, gobbling it down. Another chases Spike and he comes to a wall of rocks. There's nowhere to go. He loads another arrow and gets him right in the noggin.
Just go up the rocks.
Calls up from above, seeing someone with long hair wearing a tracksuit
fucking
and an upside down cross necklace. Ah, the return of Jimmy, now an adult. And he still has his papa's cross. Jimmy compliments his aim, but there's too many coming for even a young warrior like himself to handle. Just then, several more track-suited hooligans join the fun. He asks if they can step in. It would be our pleasure. He orders to attack, and things get real silly. They really are like Power Rangers, some shit leaping around and flipping all over the place.
I've seen a bunch of edits of that.
Incredibly goofy. It is a massive tone shift from even moments ago. Like, what the hell is up with these goons?
We should watch this. It sucks that there's a bunch of dong in it.
Hung upside down. How's that? He chants, and they all do the crane position, echoing his word. Jimmy formally introduces himself to Spike, and they shake hands. Let's be pals, he smirks. Well, Jimmy's all grown up into quite a weirdo with a cult/gang all donned in blonde wigs. Specifically, this look and the name is a reference to children's entertainer Jimmy Savile. His career after his death all came crashing down when it was discovered that he was a diddler. The whole point is showing us how people can be misremembered and misinterpreted, and if they really are stuck in 2002 in a sense, maybe those allegations never actually came out, so no one knows any better. Well, that was certainly a weird note to end things on, but we actually do have a pretty good idea of where things are going next because we even have a trailer already for the sequel.
Wait, that's the end?
In January. There are several threads introduced that look to be getting a lot of screen time in the Bone Temple based on the trailer.
That's
really
the end?
Kelson's movie in a lot of ways. I mean, he did make the Bone Temple after all, but based on the scenes glimpsed, it looks like we'll be seeing his experience during the initial outbreak on a train ride. There's also a pile of bodies seen and someone starts to crawl out. Did he maybe hide to save himself? Then we see his little hovel and there's pictures of him younger with a woman, most likely
that's
kind of
crazy.
It really looks like we'll be getting a lot more of his backstory and most likely see how he came to build the temple.
I don't think I would have liked this movie.
He's also seen further interacting with Samson and actually attempting to touch him. Could there be a new alliance forming there? Or this could just be a flashback. Then there's another character definitely stepping a lot more into the spotlight, Jimmy, along with his gang of blonde wig weirdos, which now also includes Spike, even with his own wig. Yep, looks like he is forced to join the crew. We get a little bit of insight into just how deranged the gang is, seeing them taking a group of humans hostage in a barn, understanding that they don't just kill the infected. Jimmy just seems totally nuts, killing or at least fucking with anyone that is unfortunate
There's a
enough
cut
to cross
still
their
in the
path.
inner of
Then
my
we
nose.
see Jimmy's
I don't
group
wanna
do
talk
make
about
their
it.
way to the Bone Temple. There's one shot of Kelson with what
So
sure
annoying.
looks like Jimmy behind him. It makes me a bit worried for him, but the climax of the trailer has Kelson setting a ring of fire and appearing to trap some goons in the temple. So maybe he will get the upper hand in the end. Overall, Bone Temple looks to be an interesting direction to develop various plots of the first movie, and we'll see how it goes. Supposedly part 2 will end with Jim Cillian Murphy's return, and presumably set the stage for him to become much more prominent in the third. That'll do it for this Indie Explained for 28 years later, but don't forget you can send me requests for any movies you'd like to see me cover on my social media accounts or down in the comments below.
That's definitely a movie.